Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Much appreciated you guys watching the video today. And today we're going to talk about what makes one crankbait better than another and why are some crankbaits better than others. And I'm going to sort of give you guys an overview of like 5 of my favorite crankbaits and have a little bit of discussion about that. So real quick before you just get started here, just a couple different things. Talked about this a couple days ago. Everybody knows that I had ordered some of the Block It Old School jigs that they were out of stock after the first week. We got everything getting caught up, and starting Monday morning, tomorrow morning, you're going to be able to order them again. So I'll include the Baitworks link in the description. You can go to that link and order them online. And also, if you guys are interested in any of the baits I'm talking about here, you can also get those at Baitworks. I'll include the link in the description to the Baitworks online store. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about, have a conversation here about crankbaits. What makes one crankbait better than others? Crankbaits, guys, there is literally a sea of freaking crankbaits out there. I can't even keep up with them. If you go to any of the big online tackle stores like Baitworks or Tackle Warehouse or anything like that, it is literally just, you can't even count them all. There's so many of them. There's American companies, Japanese companies, made all over the world. And it can get a little intimidating as far as what, obviously you can't buy all of them. What do you need to look for in a crankbait? And a crankbait, basically, it hasn't changed much since the inception of them when they came out. The original crankbait was obviously there was things like the Hellbenders and the Bombers. Those are very rudimentary crankbaits. But the first real crankbait was sort of like the Big O or like the Bagleys, that type of stuff. And then it evolved into some of the other ones we're going to talk about here today. But one of the things that you got to understand about crankbaits to determine how effective they are, a specific crankbait, or what makes a crankbait better than another, is it's not just one thing. It's a combination of things. It's a combination of the profile of the bait. It's a combination of the lip design. It's a combination of the action that the bait has, the buoyancy the bait has, the size of, the color of it. A lot of different things factor into it. One of the things I found out about crankbaits, guys, is that you can't really look. You can't look at a crankbait in the water and tell how effective it's going to be to catch bass. You simply can't do it because most crankbaits just wobble through the water to some degree. I mean, and there's different variations. Some have a little bit of swing to it. Some have a wider wobble. Some have a tighter. Some have a uniform wobble. Lots of different wobbles out there. Every crankbait that you can buy will catch a bass to some extent, and there's some that simply catch more bass. And I've tried to pinpoint what this is a little bit over the years, but ultimately you just don't know really what it is. So I'm going to go over the 5 crankbaits that there's a bunch of them out there, but 5 crankbaits that have really stood out to me as fish producers over all the other ones out there. And there's something about the profile and the action that there's the fish just like. So anyway, let's start out with this a little bit here. First I'm going to talk about the sort of the oldest to the newest. The first one, guys, is the old Rebel Humpy. This bait right here, I actually won one of my first tournaments on this back in 1980 at Grand Lake. This bait here, I bought it back in the late 1970s. It's called a Rebel Humpy. You can see it's a warrior and everything. And there's something about this bait, that whether it be the profile, the size, the lip, whatever, the bass just like this thing. I mean, you get a lot of bites on it. There's nothing really special about it. It's a pretty basic looking crankbait, but it's probably, again, it's a combination of the length of it, the lip angle, the profile from the top and sides, everything about it. There's just something about it they really like. So this is one that's really been effective for me. Next one, as far as age goes, is the Rapala Shad Rap. The Shad Rap is one of the most famous crankbaits in the world. Rapala is been around forever. The Shad Rap has stood the test of time. The thing about the Shad Rap that makes it a little bit more unique is that it's a balsa bait. It's silent, doesn't telegraph itself very much. It's got a pretty tight wobble on it. And it just looks like a shad. I mean, it's got the classic shad design. It's very narrow across the back, or across the back. And like I said, the wobble's fairly tight. But there's something about a Shad Rap that this thing has produced bass for over 40 years, and it continues to be just as effective as it ever is. something about it that's just the bass just really like. Next one is another Rapala. It's the Dt6, guys. This Dt6 crankbait, there's something about it. This is a balsa bait again. It's quiet, a little bit fatter profile than the Shad Rap, as you can see here. But this is a fish catching bait here. This Dt6 has been a standby for tournament anglers for years. It reaches about 6 foot deep on a 10-pound test line. Again, it's the size, the color variation, the lip, tight wobble. They just bite it real good. Now the last two more modern ones is this is the Megabass Z2 Crank here. This is my favorite crankbait currently, as we're talking about. This is pretty similar. Take a look at this. This is a brand new bait, a 2022 model. This is a 1979 model. You can see the evolution of this bait is not a lot different. I mean, it's pretty similar about it, but there's something about the Z2 crankbait, whether it be, again, the color, profile, lip, whatever like that, it gets a lot of bites. I mean, it just catches a lot of fish. And I thought that one of the best crankbaits in this category was the old Bandit 200. The Bandit 200 is a fish catching bait, but this Z2 will outproduce the Bandit in the same water. The thing about it, I like it, it's got better components on it. It's got a better internal balancer system on it. It's a little bit more high-tech crankbait. And then the final one will go off a square bill. This is the Megabass 1.5 square bill, the S Crank 1.5. Again, this is a square bill crankbait. Square bill crankbaits have been out forever, like the Bagleys have been out since the 70s. There's something about the lip design on a square bill that gets a lot of bites. And the difference on a square bill versus more of a traditional lip like this, as you can see that the lip designs, this square bill, like the S Crank, is designed to run like this a little bit in the water. It's designed to wobble, but it's like it goes off to the side, like that, and it's designed to deflect off of objects, like hit into logs and deflect off it. And you'll be running through the water like this. You'll hit an object and it deflects off, and it comes back to center, hits another one, it deflects off. Whereas a bait like the Z2 crankbait or the Humpy, these things just have a straight wobble straight through the water, and they don't deflect much. That's why it makes them better on rock, that type of stuff. But ultimately, guys, the thing that we're back to the topic of the video, the thing that makes one crankbait better than another, and like I said, these are the 5 that I've had the most success on, and I've tried them all out there. And the things that make these baits right here more productive than the other ones that you have on the market, see there is the combination of everything they have together. It's not just one single thing. It's a combination of the way they wiggle. It's a combination of how they deflect. It's a combination of the degree that they wobble. It's a combination of where the eye tie is on it, a combination of the color patterns available, the buoyancy of the bait. It's everything that goes on along. The water displacement, how much water do they displace? And every single one of these has a different place in your arsenal depending upon the water clarity, the water temperature, the type of cover that you're fishing, the wind, everything like that. Every single thing on there has that. But ultimately, certain crankbaits just simply outproduce more. I mean, some of the best looking crankbaits that I've ever seen in my life that actually look good, like they should catch fish, I can't hardly get a bite on them. And then you'll take a little, cheapo bait like the Humpy here that was sold. I probably bought this for like $1.50 or something. The bass will eat it up, so ultimately it's just, you have to give the bass what they want. But one of the things you'll find as you're fishing more in your career and as you get more experience of an angler is you'll get to understand how these wobbles, the profiles, the colors, how they intersect with each other to make a lure more productive than another. But anyway, just a quick video. Wanted to go over that and sort of give you guys a basic foundation for crankbait fishing. Hope it helped out a little bit, and we'll see y'all later.